fly away 体中に広がるパノラマ顔を蹴られた地球が起こって火山を爆発させる
Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome to my vlog on my thoughts on the Dragon Ball Z new movie, Battle of Gods. I'm here just drinking a coffee with my Dragon Ball Z mug. Anyway, I'm just here to give my thoughts on the trailer. It came out a few weeks ago. I just wanted to give it a bit of thought before I started making a vlog on it. But I'm honestly absolutely blown away by this trailer. It's only 1 minute and 25 seconds long. Honestly, that's what I like to see in some trailers these days. Some people think that a trailer can absolutely kill a movie if they show too much. So this is basically what all I really wanted to see before I see the movie. You know, we only see a little portion of it. But, you know, so much is going on in that trailer and I'm pretty happy about it. But I will start off by talking about the poster before the trailer did come out.
So here is the Dragon Ball Z poster. Now, I really like the look of this poster. You do see all the characters, couple of character development changes, like Krillin looks a little different, and so does Yamcha and Videl. And, you know, what could you have better than having Goku's opponent, which is Bills, in this movie? So, anyway, this was the very first look that we got before we even saw the trailer, and you know, I'm pretty impressed by it. I really like it.
So there's the poster. Now I'll now give my intake of what I thought about the new characters of the movie.
So here's a couple of photos of Bills and Whis. Now I'll talk about them individually. I'll start with Bills. Now there's a lot of people that probably like or don't like the look of Bills, but you know, Akira Toriyama constantly is thinking of new creative ways to create an evil villain for Dragon Ball Z. You know, starting from you know, Frieza and Cell and then Majin Buu. He's tried to make, you know, all of them completely different in terms of appearance and who they are as a character. But you know, to create a scrawny rabbit, you know, I honestly am not disappointed by this. You know, I just like his artwork and I like how he's creative. You know, there's really not much you can say about this character besides his appearance, really, because we really don't see much of what he's like in the trailer. When I first saw the appearance of Whis, I honestly thought this guy kind of looks like Kabuto Kai. But you know, he definitely looks like a Kai or a god in this case, and you know, his staff, you know, that's something different. We don't see many characters with staffs, so yeah, there's really not much to say. I honestly like the look of them. So to find out what characteristics they have, we'll just have to wait and see.
Okay, and now I will talk about my thoughts on the trailer. Now, we see little portions of what's going on, okay, like I said earlier. We do see the two new characters, the two new villains, I should say, Bills and Whis. And we do see all the characters back together. We do see a scene where Goku wants to fight the two gods, and King Kai's like, "Oh, they're gods, are you crazy?" And we see Master Roshi, you know, cheering on Piccolo, Android 18, Tien, getting ready for their fight. And we get to see Gohan, we get to see Goten and Trunks fusing, we see Vegeta raging mad, turning to a Super Saiyan, we see Shenron, and the one bit that was the best part of the trailer is that we get to see Goku and Bills like floating on top of the Earth. Now that's obviously going to cause some questions, the fact that we all thought that Goku and Vegeta, even though they're Saiyans and they're from another planet, they can't breathe in outer space, so hopefully that'll get explained in the movie. But anyway, I'll also talk about the storyline. Now, I've read this on Wikipedia, which I'll read to you, which is the main part of the storyline, so if you guys don't consider this spoilers, I'll say spoiler alert. I don't really think it's a spoiler because it's only just, you know, just a little blurb about what the movie's going to be about. But it says, the events of the Battle of Gods take place some years after the battle with Majin Buu, which determined the fate of the entire universe. Goku and friends are at Bulma's birthday party, and Whis and Bills, the god of destruction, are tasked with maintaining some sort of balance in the universe. After awakening from a long slumber, Bills is visited by Whis, and he learns that the galactic overlord Frieza has been defeated by a Super Saiyan from the North Quadrant, known as Goku, as we all know, who is a former student of North Kai. Ecstatic over the new challenge, Goku ignores King Kai's advice and battles Bills. He's easily overwhelmed and defeated, but Bills leaves, and his entire remark of, "Is there nobody on Earth more worthy to destroy?" And he seeks stronger warriors, and Bills arrives on Earth and confronts the other heroes, defeating them one after another. So this is a big build-up that Goku is going to have a fight with Bills, and then he'll go to Earth, and there'll be a bigger fight going on. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what's going to happen with the storyline. Now, Akira Toriyama is fully involved with this project, and it's the very first movie he's worked on Dragon Ball Z for a very, very long time. Apparently it's been about 17 years since Japan's had a Dragon Ball Z theatrical release. Now, Akira Toriyama promises, unlike the other Dragon Ball Z movies, except argumentally Bardock, the father of Goku, and History of Trunks are the only two Dragon Ball Z movies that have been done that are canon. This movie is going to be canon. So when we leave off with the battle of Majin Buu, and then there's a 10-year gap, and then Goku fights Oob in the martial arts tournament, this is going to be in between that, and they said this is going to be a few years after the fight with Majin Buu. So that's very, very interesting, and I think that's why this movie is so anticipated, because, you know, there's two separate Dragon Ball Z universes in this case with these movies. You know, there's the whole Dragon Ball Z stories from the Saiyan saga going to the Majin Buu saga. That's all canon. And then we have the separate universe of the Dragon Ball Z movies, and they're what-if scenarios, and they're not canon. So we got one world that's canon and what's not, and this is going to be part of the canon world. So, so that's the thing. I mean, some people might have a different opinion about this. I've already read reviews that they think, you know, none of the Dragon Ball Z movies are good. And I would agree with some of them I didn't like. I didn't like the Lord Slug movie. I thought it was kind of boring. I'm not saying I hate the Cooler's Revenge or Return of Cooler, but they could have been better. That's what I personally thought. And the Broly movie, you know, the Broly movie was definitely the best Dragon Ball Z movie out of all of them, and I think most fans can agree with that. The second Broly movie was okay. The third Broly movie, no, that sucked. But, you know, you know, some people out there hate all of the Dragon Ball Z movies just because they don't go with the timeline. They're thinking, well, what's the point of watching it? And the other reason is because, you know, the Dragon Ball Z movies, they're very short. Most of them only go for about 45 minutes, except the Broly movie went just over an hour. But, you know, the Dragon Ball Z movies kind of zip into the storyline so quickly. And that kind of destroys the story in a way, because the whole Dragon Ball Z storyline, you know, you follow it like a soap opera. You have to watch every episode to understand what's going on. There's so much build-up in the story. Like when Goku turned into a Super Saiyan and Frieza, you know, does the Death Ball attack and throws it into Planet Namek, you have to watch it for another 10 episodes for the fight to be over. And the same thing with Cell. There was so much build-up for Cell becoming perfect, and then he announces he's going to hold a martial arts tournament, and then there's another 10 episodes in between that for them to get ready for it. So there's so much build-up in Dragon Ball Z, and that's why a lot of people have liked the series for all these years. And the movies kind of go in a different direction. So what I really hope is that this movie hopefully will be over an hour, maybe 2 hours, I don't know. I doubt it'll go for 2 hours, but if it at least goes for an hour and a half, then I think it'll be a good movie. Yeah, I would also like to say, in going back to the whole thing about the trailer, is we also see Gohan turn into a Super Saiyan, and this might question some people about the whole thing about Akira Toriyama said this movie is canon. because Gohan went through his mystic training, he doesn't turn into a Super Saiyan anymore. He has the same form, you know. And but you know, I think a lot of people would understand that in Dragon Ball GT, like years later on in Dragon Ball GT, Gohan turns into a Super Saiyan, and we realised that maybe Gohan's mystic power wore off because he stopped training. And because they said that this is a few years after Majin Buu, maybe that's the case for that. Maybe the mystic powers wore off in that short amount of time. So only time will tell. You know, that's one of the questions that is going to be answered in the movie, and the other question is how Goku is floating above the earth. So what I would like to see in this movie, other than I wanted it to be a long movie, but I'd also like to see some form of action that we haven't seen before. We've seen a lot of different sort of action in like past seasons. Like, you know, Goku and Vegeta had a very epic fight at the beginning of the Saiyan saga. The Frieza saga, we finally got to see a Super Saiyan for the first time. The androids, you know, are supposed to be the ones that destroy the future, but then we get to face Cell, and then the storyline goes into a completely different direction. And Majin Buu, you know, a lot of stuff happens, you know. So, and you know, even the perfect Cell saga, Gohan kills Cell by using the Kamehameha attack with one hand, you know. A lot of stuff has happened in this series, and everybody would want to see something new. As long as it's a high action-packed fight and something you know, different happens than that they've ever done before, then that's what I personally really want to see. Now, there's really not much more I can say, but the only other topic that I can talk about is that whether or not they will dub an English version. Now, this is a question I have kind of had answered. Last year in 2012, in Australia, there was 2 Oz Comic Cons. One was in Adelaide, one was in Melbourne. I got to meet Sean Schammel at Oz Comic Con in Adelaide, the guy who does Goku's voice. Somebody did ask Sean Schammel about why the previous 3 Dragon Ball Z movies, the Goku and his friends return, the second Bardock movie, and the Over special, why haven't they been translated into English? And Sean Schammel actually did express that he did bring that up to Christopher Sabat at one time when they were making one of the Dragon Ball Z Tenkaichi video games. I think it was that one where they had the Over special, the movie to destroy the Saiyans, whatever it was called. Sean Schammel mentioned, why don't we just dub it today? Let's do it today. And apparently Christopher Sabat said, no, we've got no budget to do this at this time. But he did say to the audience, if you really want this question answered, ask Christopher Sabat himself. 3 months later, I hear that Chris Sabat is going to Melbourne Oz Comic Con, so I drove 8 hours just to go to Oz Comic Con in Melbourne, and I met Christopher Sabat, and I actually asked him at his panel about that. Have a listen to this.
Hey, Chris.
Hey.
I heard the last 3 Dragon Ball Z movies haven't been made because it's either been a timing thing or a budget thing. That's what Sean Schammel said at the last Oz Comic Con, but he said we had to ask you about that, why they haven't been made yet.
We just didn't think anyone would like them.
We love them.
I'm just kidding with you. I don't know. Honestly, I have no control over when and where Funimation dubs their stuff. I imagine at this point it's just something that they're just waiting on, because everyone wants to see those episodes, you know what I mean?
So there you have it. Chris Sabat, despite the fact he's the voice director of Dragon Ball Z, he has absolutely no say in the matter. Like, Funimation obviously chooses all the animes that they want to dub in English that probably would make them the most money. But, you know, only time will tell, because I've also gone to Sean Shammel's Twitter, and he has said quite a few things here in terms of that. He said, he did say, for the record, this is on January the 4th, he says, for the record, I have not been approached by Funimation to record the upcoming Dragon Ball Z movie, nor have I been asked to record any of the Buu saga for Dragon Ball Z Kai, because it has been known for a little while that they are going to be doing Dragon Ball Z Kai in Japan, so I'm assuming that they'll eventually will do that. I mean, how can they not? They've been doing Dragon Ball Z Kai up to the Cell saga, hopefully they would be, but Sean Schammel said he hasn't even been approached for that as of yet. There also was a rumour going on that 20th Century Fox is helping this movie being made, so there's rumours going on that maybe they'll choose a new American cast. You know, Sean Schammel actually did respond to that on the same day, January 4th. He said, he said, sorry, let me just find this. He says, I seriously doubt they will use the Funimation cast, especially if there's a high budget, but I have zero data at this time. But then he also said that day, doesn't mean it won't happen, just saying that I haven't been contacted yet. This is way too early to probably start talking about this, you know. It will have to be released in Japan, eventually be released on DVD, and then Funimation will have to work out whether or not this is going to be made or not. But anyway, with all that said and done, I'm really looking forward to this movie. You know, everyone's got their own opinions about it. This is my opinion. I really want to see this movie. You know, like, you know, Dragon Ball GT. You know, some people like Dragon Ball GT. Some people don't like Dragon Ball GT. And I am one of those people that didn't really enjoy Dragon Ball GT. And I'm not bashing any Dragon Ball GT fans. If you like it, that's fine. You know, there are even some good moments in GT. But, you know, the reason why I didn't like it is that it wasn't Akira Toriyama's original work, and there were some things that happened during Dragon Ball GT that didn't really 100% add up to the original Dragon Ball Z storyline with some of the characters and their character development. But, you know, with this, we are getting something that's canon to his original work. Because, like, you can argue the fact that whether or not Dragon Ball GT is canon or not, because it's not Akira Toriyama's work, except for he approved the you know, the characters' appearances in that manga. But, you know, only time will tell, and I'm just saying, for most fans out there, we're getting what we want. And, you know, I'm hoping most of the fans would think that. Some people think, oh, Dragon Ball Z's had its day, just let it die. You know, I don't agree with that at all. I'm like, no, god damn it, I don't want Dragon Ball Z to die. It's such a good franchise. So many animes have been, you know, inspired from Dragon Ball Z to this day. You know, Naruto has been inspired by it, I'm pretty sure. You know, probably back in the day when they created Sonic the Hedgehog, and for that matter, creating Super Sonic, you know, Super Saiyan, Super Sonic, you know, I'm sure that's been an inspiration. You know, Dragon Ball Z is the mother of all animes, and it's, no anime has ever gone longer in terms of that many episodes, except for Pokemon, okay? But other than that, Dragon Ball Z has been the longest manga of Japanese history. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this movie. We've only got 2.5 months to wait. I'm very excited to see it. So, anyway, if you guys have any comments, comment below. Let me know what you think. Catch you later.